A warrior! I want to be a warrior. Our Weekend Warrior Patreon tier. If you're listening to this, you have just subscribed, and now you're getting access to this little soundbite that we're creating. We just want to say thank you for helping to support our podcast, Yeti Walks into Basecamp, and helping us to just continue making content for y'all, and hopefully to increase the quality of our podcast episodes in the very near future.
Yes, and we're really excited about getting to do this because we want to make it more specialized. And so what you guys are going to be getting is just a plethora of like all these little like pieces of advice that we have learned over the last few years together, whether it's being a couple together out in nature, or how to climb a 14er, or how to backpack across Europe, or how to do a through hike. You know, we want to be able to give you tools, tips, whether it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes long, just these little tips of the trade to help you succeed in your next venture of something you want to do.
Yeah. We realize that our normal podcast episodes tend to be a little bit on the lengthy side. So these would be, like Basecamp just said, shorter snippets of like sage advice, recommendations, just things like that. Or even some just fun stories and anecdotes that we have and wanted to share with our paid members here.
Yeah, so thank you so much for joining, and we really look forward to getting to know you getting to know us on a deeper level.
Yeah, and what will also come along with this membership is access to pretty exclusive content. So I just released a spreadsheet that details and hyperlinks to all the gear I used on the Colorado Trail when I finished my thru hike in 2023. And there's also a blank template on that spreadsheet that allows you to start populating in your own gear with its own weight. And it's got a few formulas in there that'll total up your base weight gear or your total weight gear and stuff for you. So I think it's a really helpful tool if you're kind of new to the thru hiking community. You can start playing around with it, and please be sure to use my Colorado Trail gear loadout as a template for creating your own gear loadout. Yeah?
Yeah, well, thanks, guys.
Thanks, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Yep, happy trails.
Happy trails. What is going on? This is Yeti Legs and
Basecamp. Hey!
How's it going?
How are you guys doing?
We are your hosts for the podcast Yeti Walks into Basecamp, and if you're listening to this episode, that means you have subscribed to our Patreon.
Woohoo!
So thank you so much. You have joined, I'm guessing by the time this is released, you've joined the Weekend Warrior tier.
So hey, Weekend Warriors, what's up?
What's up, Weekend Warriors? But we'll have one more tier coming out in the future for longer episodes.
We're going to call those...
We're going to call that the Hiker Trash tier.
Yes.
Which will come with longer exclusive member episodes and some extra content as well.
So stay tuned for that.
But these episodes are going to be, we're going to shoot for anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes, but a little bit on the shorter end. They're just quick pop in and listen podcast episodes. I guess we just wanted to talk a little bit to you today about 14ers. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
So do you know what a 14er is? Basecamp, would you like to define this?
I would love to define this. So when we talk about a 14er, what we are saying is that we are climbing a mountain that is 14,000 feet high or above 14,000 feet high. So normally when we start a 14,000 foot mountain, we're probably at anywhere between 9,000 to 11,000 feet at the trailhead, which means we're gaining about 1,000 feet per mile to get to the top of the 14,000 foot mountain. So that when we say we're climbing a 14er, that is what we're talking about. It's elevation. It's
a mountain that is 14,000 feet or higher. We're not doing a 14-mile hike. We're not climbing up literally 14,000 feet in gain.
We're not at sea level going all the way to the top.
Yeah, we usually have about 2 to, on the worst case, 4,000 feet in gain.
Yes. We already live at 9,600 feet. That's where we live. You know, most people actually do not compute this because a lot of people live at sea level or below 5,000 feet. But we live at 9,600 already. Mm-hmm. So when we're climbing a 14er, we're already pretty acclimated. We're in a decent space of our lungs and oxygen. It's great.
Yeah, we're doing okay for ourselves.
Yeah.
Having come from Georgia, almost sea level.
That's a way different story. And we can give some tips on if you're coming from sea level, how can you adapt to altitude and how can that help you?
Yes. And for those of you who are not our US listeners and who don't use feet as your measurement, 14,000 feet equals about 4,267 meters.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. Since I feel like half of the people that we hiked the PCT with were from abroad. So
yes, that's true.
The meters would mean a little bit more to them.
That's true. Now that we have described what a 14er is, Yeti, can you explain to us there are different classes between 14ers? Can you explain what that is?
Yes, not every 14er is created equal. This is very true. They come in different classes. Classes number 1 through 5, where 1 is the easiest, 5 is the most difficult. So just to give you a really brief rundown, and also there will be a hyperlink to these definitions in the show notes. A class 1 is hiking, just hiking on a good old-fashioned trail.
It's an easy trail.
It's a good one.
But it doesn't mean that it's not hard to climb. There's still elevation.
Yes.
It's just a trail.
Class 2 is hiking, but a little bit more difficult. There'll probably be a little bit of off-trail route finding, maybe some scrambling. Nothing too intense, though. Most people are able to do class 1s and 2s without too much difficulty. Mm-hmm. Now, whenever you get to a class 3, you're going to be doing some pretty serious scrambling. On the 14ers.com website, it says scrambling or unroped climbing for a class 3. You must use your hands most of the time to hold the terrain or find your route. Now, this is not talking about the entire hike, but it's talking about once you really start to do that final push to the summit. That's whenever the classes really tend to kick in. Whenever you've gotten out of treeline and you're up in alpine terrain, really pushing for that summit.
So it's going to be more like high-end bouldering is what I call it. It's not full-on rock climbing yet, but you are scrambling up rocks.
This is true. Now, when you reach a class 4, there is an increased risk of injury or potential death. People have definitely died on class 4 14ers before. This is defined as climbing. Handholds and footholds are required for upward or downward progress. Rope is sometimes used on class 4 routes because falls can be fatal. The terrain is often steep and dangerous.
So on a class 4, like if you're looking at coming to Colorado and you're like, ooh, I think I'm going to do Capitol Peak. If you don't understand any of these definitions, Capitol Peak is a class 4. People have died on it. And if you don't have any rock climbing experience, if you don't have any class 3 or 4 experience, don't do it. Exactly. Do a class 1 or 2.
Class 1s or 2s are your friends if you're a beginner. And then there's the class 5. Class 5 is straight up rock climbing with a harness, carabiners, rope, pitons.
The whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards.
But we don't have a class 5 14er in Colorado. So they're all class 1 through 4s.
Yeah. So that really gives you a grid for the different levels of difficulty for 14ers. There is a really great list on the 14ers.com site that shows you, hey, which ones can I do in these class levels? Of course, you're going to want to start off with the ones if you're new to climbing 14ers and you don't have any prior rock climbing experience.
Or boulder scrambling experience, or if you're scared of heights.
Or scrambling, or scared of heights.
Yeah.
Or if you're coming from Florida.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend those. I mean, we've actually only done 1s and 2s. We haven't touched the 3s and 4s yet. And that's okay, because there's plenty of 1s and 2s here that will take us a while to do. So
yeah. One thing I'll absolutely recommend before you ever try a 14er is gauge your skill set and look up 14ers that you think are close enough to that skill set. So research the one that you want to do before you actually go and try and do it. Speaking of Florida, do you want to talk a little bit about, since you have asthma, how you first acclimated when we moved to Colorado and how you've been able to overcome the difficulties of potential elevation sickness whenever we're doing 14ers?
Yeah, I did want to talk about that. So I think when you are looking to do a 14er, you really need to think about altitude. That's a big, big thing. And a lot of times people, they'll just be like, oh, I'm fine. I'll just go and do one. And they don't think about at every 1,000 feet they're gaining that you are losing oxygen and you can't breathe well. So what I have done from the beginning is I take a lot of water with me. I drink a lot of water. And then I also, food does help. Like if you have some snacks, that really helps. and then just stopping and taking deep, deep breaths through the nose and out the mouth. So if I start to feel like my lungs are tightening up or I can't breathe well, or I'm starting to feel like I'm panicking, I'll just stop and take in just like 3 to 4 deep, deep breaths until I've slowed my heart rate down, and then I'll keep going. Because a lot of times people, I think they start panicking and then they lose their oxygen, then they start getting super lightheaded, they start getting nauseous, and then they feel really sick, but it's because they're not getting enough oxygen in their body. So if you can stop as much as you want, take deep breaths, and then keep going once your heart rate's gone down, I think that's what is like a key to success in altitude adjustment.
Yeah. And I would also highly recommend you taking electrolyte tablets or supplements or even just some salt. Because electrolytes help you retain water, and you need to drink as much water as you possibly can.
Yeah. Anybody that's even coming to Colorado a lot of times from sea level, that is a huge jump in altitude, and a lot of people come to visit us and they'll be like, I can't breathe right now, or my heart's beating really fast. Is this altitude, or is something wrong with me? And I'm like, yeah, you just need to drink a ton of water.
Yeah. Pro tip right here. If you're coming from an area that's not high in elevation, closer to sea level, and you're planning on jumping straight on over to Colorado and hitting these big ski runs or climbing some 14ers, I would at least recommend taking a day, maybe even 2, getting here, just being here.
Just acclimate.
Acclimate a little bit, veg out and enjoy the terrain, and just see how your body starts to react to being at higher elevation.
Yeah, because when we first moved here, I was really sick for like a good solid few weeks. Like I just was sick, and my body was weird and fatigued, and it was just strange. But
yeah, and you'll get nosebleeds. Your stomach will be upset. You might get headaches. Your lips and your eyes might feel dry. These are all normal things to experience when you're at elevation like this.
But you got to drink so much water, more than you ever thought. Like if you drink water at sea level, now triple your water intake, and that's how much you should be taking at elevation.
And speaking of elevation, we also need to comment on the weather, especially in these alpine terrain or these alpine environments. The weather can be pretty unpredictable. So in the summer, expect rain, thunder, lightning storms, hail, really everything but snow in the summer. And then in the winter, you should kind of just bank on, if it's not a bluebird day, if there's even a cloud in the sky, there's an opportunity for some type of snow or hail.
Yep. Especially a snowstorm, yeah. So I think then that would be a good transition to talking about what do we pack for summer and what do we pack for winter when we climb.
Do you want to take summer and I'll take winter?
Sure.
Let's do that.
So in the summer, it is still really cold here. Like even if it's saying it's 70 degrees, like down off the mountain, once you start climbing.
Every 1,000 foot of gain, this is a great rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Every 1,000 foot of elevation gain, you drop 5 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. So let's say it's 50 degrees at your 10,000 foot trailhead.
Yeah.
Well, once you start climbing and say you're up to 4,000 feet of climbing.
You've just dropped 20 degrees Fahrenheit.
20 degrees. So that's 30 degrees is where you're at. And now add the wind chill.
Wait, what?
I said that's 30 degrees now where we're at. I said if it's 50 degrees at the trailhead.
Oh,
then we're 30 degrees now at the top, and add the wind chill in, which normally every time you hit the top of 14er, you have crazy wind.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you won't. And the wind chill just feels like it adds another, 20 degrees.
Yes. I don't think we've ever spent more than maybe 5 minutes on top of a 14er.
Yeah, we take a picture and then we leave. But
yeah.
I will say that what I feel like I pack in the summer, and you can agree or not what you do, but I always pack a pair of very warm gloves because my hands get very cold no matter the season here, especially that high up. And then I pack a puffy into my backpack, and I pack a rain shell. And then I normally wearing leggings, and I'm wearing my Ultra shoes, my tennis shoes with some socks. I take sometimes an extra pair of socks in case it's freezing at the top, or like in the middle, I might wear an extra pair. And then I wear normally a t-shirt underneath or something, because it sometimes can get really hot as you're climbing in the summer. It's just normally at the top that it's freezing cold. And so I'll take like either tank top, t-shirt, some sort of, or like a sun shirt is what I'm wearing underneath everything. and then maybe a puffy vest or something if it's cold that day.
Yeah.
So I take a ton of layers with me, and then I might have like a hat layer, definitely sunscreen because it's so exposed normally up above tree line.
Yeah.
And the sun here is way more intense.
I mean, you're almost 2 miles closer to the sun. So.
Yeah.
Well, actually, on top of a 14er, you're over 2 miles.
You're over
closer.
2 miles closer. So
yeah.
You're getting cooked.
Yes,
so you
you're
better take sunscreen.
And if you're as white as us, you cook quick.
You gonna sunburn.
You gonna sunburn.
And then also expect you might get wind burnt. That's the other thing, because the wind is just crazy. And then I take hiking poles, and I normally take like a runner's vest with me, or some sort of like a little bit heavier pack that I can put a puffy in and rain shell in case it hails or rains. You
usually take your UD pack.
Yeah, but it's like a runner fast pack, so I can run down if I want.
But it is 40 liters, so just give yourself enough space in your pack that you're taking to take extra layers and things.
Yes, and then, of course, I'd say 2 to 3 liters of water, because in the summer, it's a lot hotter, so you're sweating more. So take enough water, depending on how many miles you're climbing, too. So one 14er we did was a 2-mile climb up, and that was like nothing to us. That's just 4 miles round trip. So maybe I took a liter of water. But if we're going to do Elbert, that was like, 6 miles up, I think, and 6 miles back or something. I'm just guessing along the lines. But it was a longer day. So I remember, I think 3 liters of water on that one. And then snacks, of course. Snacks that keep you going, electrolytes, salt, tabs, anything that would just keep my body going in a hot environment that can also turn cold and go into lightning really fast. So like, you're having to watch the elements when you are climbing in the summer. You've got to watch and see if any clouds are coming in, any black clouds, you hear lightning around you. So yeah.
A couple of examples of stuff that we've hit doing summer 14er climbs. Just this year we were going up Mount Sherman, which is one of the easier, I believe it's a class 1 14er. It's a class 2. Sherman, which is a class 2 14er. We were going up super early summer, about midday. There really wasn't a whole lot of snowpack left in the area.
No, and it looked fun.
Really just on the summit. And about halfway, we got stuck in a hailstorm.
Yeah.
And it hailed for a good 10 minutes, maybe 15. We had to hunker down. It hailed again, and then we got to the summit, and as we were coming down, it hailed the hardest. So we actually found this little cairn rock pile that someone had built up. It almost looked like it was a shelter intentionally. Yeah. And there was another guy there, and we all just shared that little like 4-foot long piece of shelter in the hailstorm. And by the time we got in the car, we had whelps all over our legs.
Yeah, and you know the most beautiful thing, I will give a shout out to the North Face Summit Series Pomori jackets. We both have one. And we wore those things during the hailstorm, and all we did was put our backs to the hailstorm. We were just literally sitting there on the trail, just letting the hailstorm pelt our backs.
Yeah.
And I didn't even feel it through the Pomori jacket. Like, I didn't, as long as our backs were to it, it was great. So I give a shout out to those jackets. They're amazing.
I should also note that it was about pea-sized hail.
Yeah.
If it had been the size of like grapes or larger, we probably would have felt it.
It would have hurt real bad.
But the more of what she's saying is get yourself a really good rain shell.
Yeah, you need a good rain shell if you're going to climb 14ers in the summer, and take your puffy with you as well. And then honestly, we ran that one down as fast as we could because it was storming.
So here's a question. In your list, what waterproof gear did you take with you? A hard shell for sure. Was anything else waterproof?
Not in the summer. I just kind of let my leggings get wet. So my shoes aren't waterproof.
No poncho.
Nothing
like. Okay.
No, just the rain shell. I guess I would have, if I didn't have my hard rain shell, I would have a poncho probably, just something. But I think a hard shell's better because it's insulated, so it's cold up there. It helps, keep everything warm.
Yeah, I think a hard shell is the best way to go. If you do end up opting for a poncho, make sure that you can zip and button it between your legs and underneath your appendages, because it's so windy, the poncho is going to be useless if it starts blowing.
Yeah, so a hard rain shell is probably your best bet in the summer. And then also sunglasses. Sunglasses are my key. Yeah. Okay, so tell us about winter gear, and what do you pack in the winter?
So winter is a very different animal out here. If you're hiking a 14er in winter, I would say you're 95% going to be hiking it in snow. So just starting from the feet up, start with a pair of good waterproof or highly water resistant boots. I've actually been doing some 14ers and waterproof socks with my ultras just because I have a hard time finding waterproof boots. I think
that fit his feet.
I may have actually found a pair finally, but I would not suggest the waterproof socks and ultras for you if you're starting out 14ers. So a good pair of waterproof boots. I wouldn't say you need waterproof pants, but a pair of pants because it does start to get windy. Even if you're sweating in tree line, you're going to be cold as soon as you hit that alpine terrain. I think from there, a good sun shirt, a long sleeve with a hood, and the hood's purpose is because you're going to be out there exposed to the sun. But what you have to consider in the winter is that the snow reflects the sun back. And so you're going to be getting that sun exposure twofold when it's coming down and when it's reflecting off of the snow. So just be mindful of that. And I feel like the sun hood really helps out with that. And I would also say to have a good mid layer that you're wearing most of the time when you're doing a 14er summit in the winter. And definitely keep at least a puffy and a hard shell, so a waterproof hard shell in your bag when you're going up there. Also, for your upper body, I would say I take 3 pairs of gloves with me. I take a pair of sun gloves.
Yeah.
And then I take a slightly sturdier, slightly warmer pair. So I've got these Hestras. They're basically Hestra leatherwork gloves that I love. Or I've got a pair of UD fleece gloves that have a little like fold over waterproof shell. Those are both like my middle level gloves. And then I've got a pair of hardcore like leather hybrid waterproof Hestra gloves that I take out there for if I'm just freezing my ass off and I just need to get my hands warm really quickly. And to that, I think a good little piece of gear to take with you would be hand and feet warmers. You know, those little hot hand packets that you can get. Takes like 10 minutes to get them started and activated and start warming you up. But I feel like they're worth a few ounces that you pay for having to carry them up there with you. And then lastly, for your head, I always take a buff with me. So I have a buff around my neck that I can pull up over my ears and over my head in case I need some extra warmth. I've got a hat that I always wear. And then I have a beanie and my backpack in case I start to get cold, especially your ears. Because if you didn't know this, you lose heat largely in 3 spots on your body: your head, your hands, and your feet. So those are the spots that you want to keep warm. And if you keep your core the warmest part on your body, that will help keep those extremities warm as well. Because I've found that if my core is cold, doesn't matter how thick my gloves are, my hands are still going to get cold. Same for my feet, same for my beanie. So core is first, work on your appendages and your digits.
The other thing we forgot is micro spikes.
Yes.
So in the snow, you need to pack with you micro spikes. And then also, if it's been snowing a lot, you need to pack snowshoes. Because once you get above tree line, you are going to be snowshoeing up.
That's very true.
Yeah. And
a pair of snow gaiters is also really helpful.
Yeah.
Helps keep the snow out of your shoes or your boots, whatever you're wearing.
Yeah.
And I also like to take, I'm a devoted trekking pole user, so I always have them with me. But I love to take trekking poles, even if I'm hiking in the snow, and make sure there's snow baskets on them. Gives you a little bit more flotation power.
I don't have snow baskets on mine, but
I know.
They get stuck in the snow from time to time.
Yeah.
But this last time we did hike a 14er in Quandary. It was the first day of this new year, and it didn't look like it was going to snow. It was a blue sky day, but we did take everything with us, and we got halfway up the climb, and sure enough, clouds rolled in and it just started pounding a white out. And we put all of our layers on and we were fine. I mean, I didn't feel cold once, and I didn't feel snow coming through. Yeah. And I do think if you're going to hike or climb 14ers, 13ers in the winter, you absolutely need a hardcore rain shell.
Yeah.
You 100% need that, because we saw someone out there with just a puffy on.
Yeah.
And they had to turn around because their puffy was getting wet. Like, you know.
That's sage advice right there.
Thank you.
and also, like she said earlier, sunglasses and sunscreen are a must, especially with the snow bouncing up. Be sure to sunscreen the underside of your nose because it will get cooked if you forget about it.
And then sunglasses, because you could get snow blindness. It's a real thing.
Yep.
So do not forget your sunglasses.
You basically sunburn your corneas.
Yeah.
Which is not a good thing.
No.
And then lastly, what I'll say for your winter 14er equipment is an SOS device, because shit can turn south real quick out there. And if something does happen to you and you may be in a weird situation that you're not comfortable with, or you don't have the right gear that you think you should need, you know, it's always a good idea to have that to hunker down, push the button, get back to safety.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to cost you, but I mean, what's the price of your life to you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So, well, that's our how to climb a 14er.
Yeah.
Episode.
If you have any questions, we would love to hear them and answer what we can for you. You can leave a comment on our Patreon post, or you can shoot us an email to our podcast, which is yetiwalksintobasecamp@gmail.com.
All one word, all lowercase, Yeti walks into basecamp@gmail.com.
We would love to hear from you. And if we get enough questions, of course, we'll have a Q&A episode, and we would love to answer those and give shout outs to y'all as well.
Yeah, so thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed our first Patreon member subscriber.
Yeah.
Our
Weekend Warriors.
Our first Patreon Weekend Warriors episode. If you have any ideas on what we should name these shorter episodes for our paid subscribers, we would love to hear that, and maybe we'll adopt one of them and start calling them that.
Yeah, so we hope this inspires you to get out there and climb a 14er.
All right. Well, I guess this is where we sign out, right?
Bye.
This has been Yeti Legs
And Basecamp.
Happy Trails.
Happy trails.